You know the look. A strange sound hits the air, and instantly, snap, your dog's head pivots 45 degrees. It is easy to assume they are just confused by a new noise, or perhaps they have figured out that looking adorable is the fastest way to a treat. Watching that tilt in slow motion reveals a physical realignment of the skull, positioning the dog's sensory organs to capture specific streams of information. A canine head functions as a biological machine, processing auditory, visual, and cognitive data all at once. Projecting human emotions on dogs often hides the evolutionary engineering happening right in front of us. The first function is auditory localization. Dogs possess movable ear flaps called pinnae. While these funnel noise, they act as physical barriers blocking sound waves from certain directions. By tilting their head, a dog changes flap positions to calculate the microsecond time delay between a sound wave hitting the left ear versus the right. That fraction of a second allows the brain to pinpoint the exact distance and direction of the sound. The second function is visual clearing. For many dogs, a long muzzle creates a blind spot in the center of their lower visual field. The physical tilt shifts the snout out of the way, giving the dog a clear line of sight to read human facial expressions. The third function is cognitive processing. Research on gifted word learner dogs has linked this movement directly to mental focus and auditory memory recall. This chart shows that dogs processing familiar toy names tilted their heads 43% of the time, compared to only 2% for typical dogs hearing unfamiliar words. This movement represents a dog paying absolute attention, synthesizing hearing, sight, and memory in a single moment. Human artificial selection has physically changed how certain dogs utilize this sensory tool. Brachycephalic breeds, like pugs and bulldogs, have been bred for extremely shortened facial structures. Because these flat-faced breeds lack a long muzzle, they do not face the same visual obstruction, which explains why they tilt their heads significantly less often. We also provide a psychological feedback loop. Humans often reward the tilt with affection and positive tones, causing social dogs to increase the behavior to encourage interaction. Human preferences in skull morphology and social reinforcement have altered the physical mechanics and the frequency of this biological signal in domestic dogs. Differentiating between a healthy quirk and a medical crisis depends on context. A head tilt that occurs without a sound or visual trigger is a warning sign. A persistent, locked head tilt often points to a localized infection in the external or middle ear canal. The most severe cause is vestibular disease, which indicates a failure of the inner ear and the brain's balance center. The condition comes with alarming symptoms, including severe nausea and a sudden loss of balance. Owners should also look for nystagmus, a rapid, rhythmic, and involuntary eye-darting motion that signals a vestibular episode. While these signs are frightening, idiopathic vestibular syndrome in older dogs is often treatable, despite frequently being mistaken for a stroke. The triage rule is clear. A tilt reacting to a sound is a behavioral signal, but a persistent tilt stumbling requires an immediate trip to the veterinarian. Translating the biological mechanics behind these postures provides the clarity needed to serve as an effective advocate for a dog's long-term health.